if you want to protect your identity, start with your vendors, who you buy from. Stop buying online. Start going to your local stores. It's first of all going to end up being a lot cheaper. But if those local stores use automation, don't use it. Refuse. Refusing to use automation that steals your identity, that has to be stored in a massive, massive computer data center that offers no jobs to anybody, that makes bundles and bundles of profit off of your information, your social security number, birth date, the cars you've owned, the property you own is all stored there. And they need massive places to store it. So they go into these communities and they tell the companies, look, or tell the communities, look, we're going to give you all kinds of this and that, and they give you nothing. The only jobs they give you are temporary. They're for building the infrastructure, and now they've actually come up with ways they don't need people to build them anymore. So now that all those jobs are gone, all that land is gone and consumed, we can't have farms because there's no water, because it's all being consumed by the data center, and the little bit of water that you do get allowed to use is not enough for any livestock, it's not enough for any plants, it's barely enough to keep you alive. And if you think I'm lying, go look up some other states away from yours and see what's really happening. That's what I do. I go to their local news. What's happening in Nebraska, what's happening in Wyoming, Utah, Ohio, not just the ones that all the social media puts out there. I want a bigger picture. So I see what the local news is saying to their citizens. And I see some reporters that need to be fired on the spot. And I see others trying to do their job but getting a lot of backlash. And I'm sorry about you. Cleaning houses, never a pretty job, and it's always a lot of hard work. And welcome to America. Hard work is what helps you succeed. But there's no reason to put in hard work if you're not going to have anything or be allowed anything. And they're going to demand you do, because they're not giving it up, although they want you to. So, listen guys, this was too long by YouTube standards, but if you really want to get a hold of this and get our jobs back in our communities, get our stores prices down where we can afford them, because adding all this new data consuming machines to collect nothing but data of what your purchases are, and then your bank information and what time it was, that's got to stop, because they sell that data. Stores don't make profit off goods anymore. They make profit off of selling all of the identification and your marketing details. Don't fall for it, please. If you don't believe me, just try it. It'll be an adjustment. Going to your bank, taking out just the money you need, because you can Google the price of anything, and go to the store, buy just that item with the cash you have, and see how fast you are in and out of that store. Here, locally, thank God, Walmart still accepts cash, debit cards, all of that. And the moment that they don't accept cash is the moment that I will change my marketing practices. The moment. If they want to know what our marketing practices are so that they can sell to us, let them see it on their shelves. By what we buy that we specifically chose. Let's see if it really is all based on demand of Americans. Because I promise you, the demands of illegal aliens is not in that count. And their numbers are massive. So if you want to get on your shelves food you like, food that is safe, go back to cash. Do it for 1 month. And watch how much money you save. No transactions. Because even though the bank may say there's no transaction, wherever you use the card, the vendor usually has a transaction fee that can be as much as $2 or $3. Sometimes in like California, it's more. New York, it's more. But in most, it's not. And most of us don't live in the chaos of the city. And we are worried because our identities are almost useless, almost a waste of having. And we can't have that. We have to stop it. And the only way to do that is to go back to cash. Make your transactions simple. The store can only document the item purchased and what time it was purchased. Not who bought it. Not who bought it. And they can't say they need that for safety, because you know what? We had that before, and the cops really abused it, where they would go by a ticket and a timestamp and arrest somebody at the wrong register for a crime that was committed on a different register. Yeah, we've all seen it. Come on. Internet is not as new as you think. It started with places like web TV, and I was on it. I mean, come on. There are some things, yes, you're going to have to use a debit card of some kind. Absolutely, no doubt. That's going to be a necessary thing. But if you want to keep the convenience, your information on purchases, potting soil, and all of that, why do you have to give identification information to buy something in my country? That's not freedom. Not freedom at all. Freedom is walk in, you pay for what you buy, and you walk out. That's freedom. And I have lived it. Yeah. That started to change in the 80s when they started to computerize cash registers. So, I mean, really push for it out there in the stores. But you can tell your stores what you will accept. There's no reason that the CEO of Walmart needs to know anything about me. As long as I pay for the item I have brought to the cash register. That is our transaction, and that should be all that it is. This is an invasion, and it has to stop. And if you don't want, you think just people. See, right now, the immigration thing is the distraction for Americans. They're pissed, and justifiably, but it's not the first time that, Americans have taken this on, and some Democrat or some Republican, oh, no, we're gonna, yeah, a little bit of Nixon there, sorry. But you got to be realistic about this. You say you've got concerns enough about your privacy just using something like a phone. That's all the technology I use anymore is this. Just my phone. I've gotten rid of everything else. I don't use it. It's a drain to keep the batteries up, and they go out of date every year. So, no. And I'm not paying for upgrades. No. My technology should last more than 12 months. There's no quality in your investment of $700, $800, $900 for a laptop and more. because I see them going for as high as $3,000 and $4,000 on Amazon. I'll never own one. Why do I got to take out a small loan to own a laptop that has all the features I'm going to need it to have? Because I read all of those, the description and operations and all this, because I want to know what I'm buying. You're not asking me to give you a 2-digit sum, not counting change. You are asking me to give hundreds or thousands of dollars for something with no guarantee of quality. No guarantee that in 9 months, 13 months, I'll be having to replace it because my technology costs too much to update. Which means you got to produce a new one with 1 or 2 little things that don't benefit me at all. Google, every time you change the settings on my phone, I just want to scream, go out in my forest and howl like a wolf, because I can't stop you from changing the settings I prefer on my phone with an update. So, come on. If this is the weakest and the best you've got, keep it. And if Americans don't take that standard again, like we used to have when GE was putting out the best stoves, refrigerators, washers, dryers. I do remember those times. Both my parents worked in Chicago's factory, at the GE factory. So they gave us discounts to buy their product and put it in our home for others to see. It was free advertising, and they understood. And my parents loved it. And the quality was unbelievable. And if something broke down, it was like Whirlpool or Maytag. You got on the phone that had a cord, and you spoke to a person. First and foremost, you spoke to a person who knew what they were doing. They were educated enough by their company as to what the service of that product entitled. Now it's a joke. It's a joke. You got companies turning off cars. You got farm equipment being shut off by corporations who decided that even though you paid for it, it's not yours. You'll have no rights to it. $300,000, who cares? It's your pocket, not mine. I just gave. This has got to stop. This is the destruction of industry, and we have seen it before. And Americans, we used to be top-line creativity. Trump was not joking about that stuff. We really were. We were always for exceeding other countries in our quality of our product. The quality of our product. Our foods were top-notch. Not anymore. My food's got to last 9 months while it comes across the planet before it ever reaches my table or my refrigerator. And it's stuff that's bad for the fruit and for me. And they don't care. Well, why do I got to get apples from China or wherever when I could still get apples from Michigan in my own country without the import tariff garbage that we are always being charged for? Back to reality it is, I guess. Just back to reality. Listen up, guys. You can change it. You can. It ain't easy. And it takes unity. And the bravest people in the world who died always shot a assassinated in some way that brought unity, that removed the boundaries, the fence, the barbed wire from our path as Americans, to have equal rights for everyone. Look, I don't care if you are tattooed, if you got jewelry on and you're serving food. I'm sorry, it's uncomfortable. Because even though you may have it clean, I don't know what infection is in that or how secure that jewelry is after 4 to 6 hours or 8 hours on your shift. And if you're wearing jewelry to go work somewhere where there's machinery, why should a company risk your lawsuit for allowing you to wear jewelry that is a risk of harm to you while operating the machinery? And as a person who worked on machines with machinists, I have seen plenty of those injuries. So you're not going to tell me it's made up. And the companies got sued and almost went bankrupt. And these were good production companies in Illinois, Naperville actually. No, it was not Naperville, begins with a W. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Wheaton, Illinois. And that plant made mostly medical supplies. That was, listen, the stupid things people want to get away with today. And say, why do I gotta go by the rules? Listen, you come in my house, I got rules. You get to make up the rules in your house. And that is the greatest thing about owning your own home. You can set the rules. And it's that simple. Others have to abide. Why? Because they're guests. They are visitors in your home. Sadly, too many people who reside in those homes take advantage and become violent and aggressive these days if they're not allowed bad behavior that is against the rules. I had no problem telling any one of my, from 15 on up, children, hey, there is the door. Don't let it hit you with a good Lord split you. Be on your way if you do not like my rules. My rules keep you out of jail. My rules keep you from burning down or destroying my rental property that I am liable for to a landlord. These were my rules. And if you cannot get your children to assimilate to that, you're going to end up with what I have with one of my children who has chosen to be homeless and never own anything and play the victim card and play pity me all the time, instead of getting off her drugs and putting a life together that provides not only food on her own table, but a roof over her head, and it would allow her to be a part of society. She'll never get her kids back. That'll never happen. And I'm sorry. I love my daughter. Don't get me wrong. I do not deny who anyone is because I've never been allowed to deny who I am. You better live the way you preach. Actually do. And it has cost me and put me in debt. It has hurt my family through enabling I never should have done. But it was more out of pity because I knew they were never going to use what I gave them to better their lives. And people who talk about it but don't live that, really? you're one of those people who believe you live between the third and fourth dimension. No, you die. When you come back, if you did good enough in this dimension, you might come back in the fourth. But you're still a baby. You're only in the third dimension. Come on. You want to talk that science stuff? Let's go. I could see it. I believe in quantum physics. I also believe in string theory. And it's not because I'm a kook, because this science is being applied every day that we don't ever see. But occasionally, they drip some of that knowledge down to us. And those looking for something interesting find it. So listen, I've been on here too long, one of my big ass videos, excuse my potty mouth. But, yeah, if you really want to get control of your identity, stop paying some company to secure your data, because all they're doing is storing it. And then when you cancel the subscription, for whatever reason, maybe you can't afford it anymore, your information is released. And know it. That's exactly what happened to me when I signed up with LifeLock. So when we canceled it, after a couple of years we had it. And I canceled it because I couldn't afford it anymore, and it was going up every year. Why? Because they had more and more of my data to store. So choose wisely, folks. If you're young, there's going to come a time when you're going to want to have the kind of dignity that comes from earning something for yourself. I was a street kid. I was a wanderer. And then I was a runaway, and I survived because I was smart. And I still got an education. Why? Because I was smart. But you're just wandering around, staying doped up, screaming angry at the world. The world has betrayed me. No, people, you betrayed yourself. Stop it. Everything that my eldest daughter told me her parents held high in regard, she refuses to live by. That was her choice. I can't do anything. I've tried. But it was always, I just need money. So, no thank you. Like I said, I love my daughter. And I wish her to be safe. But I'm not having the nightmares no more. I refuse to live your chaos. When I've only sought out a life without chaos. You choose a life of chaos, and I don't want to be a part of that. I love you. But what else can I do? It's out of my hands. It was up to you, and always has been. I love you. American Granny out.